Thank you for coming. Tonight's presentation is going to be regarding school safety and the wraparound approach that we have in the city of Manchester. I'm going to start with introductions. My name is Kelly Espinola, and I am the Assistant Superintendent here in Manchester for high schools and operations.
My name is Officer Lindstedt from Manchester Police Department. I'm the crime prevention officer and does a lot with school security.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Steve Cooper. I am the district's school safety facilitator.
Yes, please.
Jay Ruay, Mayor of Manchester.
I'm Jen Camille, the Superintendent of Schools.
Ryan Cashin, Chief of the Manchester Fire Department and the Emergency Management Director for the city.
Peter Marr, I'm the Chief of Police for Manchester Police Department.
Hi, Phil Alexikos. I'm Deputy Public Health Director for the City of Manchester Health Department. Thanks for having me.
Stacy Champion, Multi-Tiered System of Support for Behavioral Health and Project Aware Director.
Michelle Casaba, Assistant Director of Multi-Tiered Systems of Support.
And now Mr. Cooper is going to go over a couple safety notifications for you to be aware of.
So if anyone has to use a restroom, if you go through these double doors, men and women's restrooms right behind us. In case of an emergency, we just follow the exits. And there's a medical issue that comes about. We have our firefighters and the first responders here. They can take care of that. And we'll follow directions from them. I just want to stress tonight to you folks that tonight is basically to show you as a school community the enhancements we're doing to keep our schools districts safe. As you can see here, the partnerships here are robust. So it's not just one entity that's working to try to make this happen. It's a community, forefront to make sure that when a critical incident happens, the tools are there, the resources are there for us to come together and deal with that incident. So tonight is not one of those pleas. Let's keep it respectful and civil amongst one another. But tonight is basically to concentrate on that. The school safety and how we're building school safety to protect our staff and our teachers, and most importantly, our students. Okay? Thank you.
Questions may come up during this presentation. Mr. Roth and Ms. Doherty are walking around with pens and pieces of index cards. If you have a question, please raise your hand and they will bring a card over to you. At the end, we will answer the questions that we can, and if we cannot answer them, we will add, due to timing, we will add them to our frequently asked question sheet that will be posted to the district website very soon after this meeting. Back in 2014, each of our 22 schools operated with its own individual emergency plan. While those plans gave schools a framework to follow, they also created gaps and inconsistencies across the district. Different formats, different protocols, and different levels of detail made it harder to coordinate during a crisis. It was at that time that we partnered closely with our city departments to shift from 22 separate plans to one robust, unified plan for the entire district. This approach brought several key benefits. It simplifies decision-making, ensures consistency across all schools, and allows city and district responders to work from the same playbook. A unified plan also reduces confusion. Instead of 22 different ways of responding, everyone, staff, administrators, city partners, we all have a shared understanding of roles, responsibilities, and next steps. That makes our responses faster, more efficient, and ultimately safer for our students and staff. By working collaboratively with our city partners, we created not just a plan, but a comprehensive framework that strengthens our preparedness and ensures we are speaking the same language. One major plan for the district, but each school has their own sub-plan. Chief Cashin?
Yes, thank you. The mission of the Emergency Management Division is to provide a unified approach to all school safety. The schools of the city are our #1 priority, I can assure you of that. The Emergency Management Division employs an all-hazards, all-risk approach to planning for all types of situations. One of the goals that we've tried to do this year is to better coordinate all city departments. Every single year, we're always trying to look at these plans and find out a way that we can make them better every single year. So we've had a lot of new people come into school. This year, we're trying to make it as easy as possible for everyone that's new into the school, as well as the fire department, the police department. There's always a lot of new employees, to make it as easy for them to understand as possible. And that way that these plans can be developed and deployed in a very fast amount of time.
Tonight, I want to emphasize that this is a robust plan for our district. It is designed with one goal in mind, and that is to simplify decision-making in the event of an incident. The strength of this plan comes from collaboration. Our plan is designed to be comprehensive and all hazards. That means it does not just prepare us for one type of emergency, but rather ensures we are ready to respond to a wide range of scenarios, whether they are human-caused, natural, or technological. For example, on the human side, this plan addresses situations such as an attack at school, an active assailant, a cyber attack, a severe allergic reaction, a civil disturbance, the death of a student or staff member, a missing student, or even a suspicious package. When it comes to natural hazards, our plan prepares us for earthquakes, floods, and severe storms, whether that's snow, heavy rain, or high winds. It also includes protocols for public health emergencies, like pandemics or highly contagious viral diseases. In fact, I'd like to note that our pandemic planning was already part of our EOP well before COVID-19. Finally, the plan covers technological hazards, such as a gas odor or leak that could require immediate evacuation and coordination with outside agencies. By covering all of these areas, our EOP provides students, staff, and families with reassurances that we have a strong framework in place. We know emergencies can take many forms, and this plan ensures we are prepared, responsive, and able to act quickly to protect our school communities. Chief Marr?
Thank you. So in an emergency at school, whether it's an active threat, a bomb scare, a medical crisis, or an accident, the role of the police department is to respond immediately, secure the scene, and protect students and staff. Our first priority is stopping any threat and ensuring everyone's safety. That's number one. We work very closely with fire, EMS, and school staff to coordinate medical care, evacuation, and reunification. One of the biggest challenges that we deal with in situations like this are responding families. Responding families can, completely understand the instinct to want to come to the school and check on your kids, but it unintentionally creates safety hazards for us, for your kids. It can block emergency accesses, it can slow our ability to secure the building, it can slow EMS's ability to get to the scene in order to transport people to medical facilities or to treat people. So the best way for families to help us out is by staying informed through the official school channels and public safety communications that we put out, whether it's on social media, the news, NICSL, and whatnot. As far as the Manchester Police Department goes, every single officer in our department has been through SWORD, which is the Solo Officer Rapid Deployment training. MPD has led the way in this state regarding law enforcement training for active threats. We have more instructors with MPD than any other department in the state, and we have one of the most certified officers in Officer Lindstadt in the entire state. He gets pulled in to teach this stuff up at the police academy. So I just want you all to know that we take this extremely seriously, and the MPD is ready and willing to take on any of these crises.
In addition to the departments you see here, our transportation department also plays a critical role in our emergency planning. In the event of an incident, transportation is deployed to schools to help move staff and students quickly and efficiently to a designed reunification site. In addition to reunification, our buses could also be used to assist with medical needs. For example, if there are individuals who are injured but not critically, transportation could support by bringing them to local hospitals. The flexibility and coordination ensures that we are prepared to respond with efficiency during any emergency situation. Ms. Champy?
We currently have 5 federal grants to build safe and supportive schools, and we are waiting on a potential 6th funding source from the Department of Justice to support school safety. Project Aware is a $7.6 million grant to build positive school climates and safe schools in all schools across the district. The district has a plan in place to proactively seek funding opportunities that promote safe schools. We have a team that meets monthly that consists of district and community members, and we review and discuss funding opportunities and identify how we can work together on these grants to build safe schools and communities.
When we talk about school safety, one of the most visible layers of protection is our physical security. Across our district, we have invested in systems and structures that help keep students and staff safe every day. For example, all staff are issued badges and electronic fobs that allow controlled access into our buildings. This not only helps us know who belongs in our schools, but also prevents unauthorized entry. We've also added secure vestibules at our main entrances. These spaces serve as checkpoints, ensuring that visitors are properly screened before they can enter the heart of the building. In addition, many of our schools have protective films on some of the windows. This film strengthens the glass, making it more resistant to shattering and gives first responders valuable time to react in the unlikely event of an attempted forced entry. Together, these measures, badges, fobs, vestibules, and film, create multiple layers of security. They're designed not just to deter the threats, but also to give us time and to control an emergency. All of these efforts reflect our ongoing commitment to providing a safe learning environment for every student and staff member in the district. Mr. Cooper?
So if you don't mind, Assistant Superintendent Espinola, I'm going to pass this one over to Kevin. And you mind just introducing yourself and explain to the folks, Steve?
Hi, I'm Kevin Kincaid. I work for the school district handling all the physical security that involves cameras, access control, and emergency alerting. Part of what I do is we've installed security cameras in every one of our schools, inside and outside, in multiple locations, to provide enhanced security for the school. What that does, not only does it help staff see an incident before it can become troublesome, it helps police and fire officials when they come to a scene to see what occurred, and it helps them establish a good safety perimeter, and also after the fact determine what had happened. So every one of our schools has cameras. Assistant Superintendent Espinola talked about the fobs and the secure vestibules. All our schools either have a secure vestibule, which basically means there's like a double set of doors when you come into the school building. There's a window for the receptionist or whoever's that spot to talk to you. So even if someone would get through that first door inadvertently, they would still be contained in that area before they could go further. There's cameras there, there's access control there, there's also an intercom for the receptionist or staff members to speak with whoever's trying to come into the building to assist them without having to open the door and allow them completely into the school.
Chief Marr is now going to discuss school resource officers in our district.
Sure. Thank you again. So a school resource officer, we have 10 of them at the police department. They are sworn police officers. They are embedded in the high schools and middle schools of the city. We have 2 at Memorial, 2 at Central, and the rest all have 1. And their job really is, to work with the school staff, make it a safe environment, educate, mentor, and work to prevent any sort of threats or things that are going on at the school. One of the really just huge benefits of having those SROs in those schools is their radio. They're able to communicate with the entire police department just like that. As soon as they key up, and the entire police department is able to respond. We know what's going on. It's huge. But a lot, that aside, they're not just there as, a police officer. They're there to kind of welcome or be an ambassador from the police department to the kids in the schools, teach them how to interact with police officers, and really help out any way that they possibly can.
Thank you.
Welcome.
We're now going to hear about emergency response and preparedness.
So the Manchester School District and the Manchester Police Department have been working together for, I don't know, as long as I can remember, at least minimum of 10 years.
Since 15.
15 years. Makes
Since
me old.
2015,
Thank you.
yeah.
Appreciate it. For 15 years, and we've been progressing every year. So in the last 3 years alone, we've trained 2,500 Manchester School District employees just on the active shooter alone. We've done multiple drills per year per school. I think that we ended up in the last 2 years doing almost 100 drills in the school system. In every school, when we go over there, we have a checklist of what every single teacher in every single room is, what their expectations are during the drill. The emergency operations plans is a living document, as you'll hear about more today. It's a living document. We are constantly making changes to it. Every time there's any type of event across the country, we analyze that event and try to figure out how it affects our schools and to make the proper changes and get those changes out to the staff of the Manchester School District. The trainings that they're having are the CRAZE course, which we'll talk about here in a minute, but they're also getting a Stop the Bleed class. The school district has also gotten a grant, and we've given each school a medical kit and taught each of the teachers how to use all the items in that medical kit to make sure that your students and your children are safe during the day.
Thank you. Our staff participate in regular training to ensure drills are carried out effectively and consistently across the district. After each drill, principals provide feedback to the staff on what went well and where we can improve and grow. This reflection process allows us to continuously grow. Talking about that live document and being able to change it as needed strengthens our practices and ultimately creates safer environments for our students.
All right, one of the things that we were able to implement is a system called EJIX. The EJIX system is an application that each of the teachers and every single Manchester police officer has to include dispatch, all of our cell phones, our laptops. It gives each teacher or member of the Manchester School District the ability to call for some sort of emergency procedure. Whether that's a lockdown, whether it's a shelter in place, a reverse evacuation, some sort of medical, all they have to do is go on their phone and hit a button. If it's a medical alert, it goes to, say, the Manchester Police Department and the Manchester Fire Department. If it's a lockdown or an active shooter, it goes to every single Manchester police officer's cell phone and every single Manchester police officer's computer and directly to dispatch, supplementing the need to call 911. We'll never ask someone not to call 911, but 911 it consumes a lot of time. If they hit that alert button, it goes directly to dispatch and directly to every single police officer. Can I talk about today? Chief,
Sure.
you want to talk about today?
Let's talk about today.
This afternoon?
I'm good with that.
Okay. So this afternoon, there was a potential threat at one of our high schools, and a member of that high school hit the emergency button on EJIX. And immediately, every single police officer got that notification on their phones and on their computers. From the time that that EJIX app went off until the time that the first non-SRO went off with the school was under 2 minutes. That is a phenomenal time hack, if you don't know. The national average for response time is 3 to 5 minutes. So we were there in under 2. And again, that's not counting the SROs that were already off at the school. And with this app, as soon as something goes off, each individual teacher or staff member at the school has the ability to type into, basically hit a button saying where they are in the school, if they're safe, or if they need medical help. So we can look at that app and dispatch on a large screen, and we can say, hey, it's red over here, that means there's something bad going on over here. We can immediately send officers to the place where there's something bad going on the app. Or if someone's injured, there'll be a notification saying where they're injured and we can go and help them. This app is a huge bonus for the students and staff of the Manchester School District, and it's a huge help for the Manchester Police Department. And that basically came to fruition today. Again, under 2 minute response time. Personally, I was in a meeting and my radio was off. Normally, I would have never got the alert that there was something happening, and my watch started going crazy. Everybody started looking at me, and I just got up and left and was able to respond over there. So the app is a huge tool for the Manchester School District, the students of the Manchester School District, the staff, and the Manchester Police Department.
And then after an event, our principals will typically send a message out to families using ThrillShare or Aptigee. If you are not receiving regular notifications from your child's school, your email may not be correct in Aspen. So it is important that you get in touch with the schools so that you are receiving constant communication from us. Our emergency operations plan exists to make sure that in any situation, whether big or small, we are prepared to protect, support, and care for our students and staff. Each of our schools has its own emergency management team, trained to carry out the plan, ensuring that responses are coordinated, consistent, and effective. The EOP, the Emergency Operations Plan, EOP, also goes beyond immediate safety. In the event of a significant emergency, we have a plan for our students and community. Memorial High School is equipped with a generator, which serves as a central site for food preparation in the event that a school needed to be evacuated. At its core, our EOP is about readiness, resilience, and care, making sure we are always positioned to meet the needs of our community when it matters most.
So when we want to talk about the training that the City of Manchester has, I want you to understand that it's extensive. We have worked with the staff of the Manchester School District, with the CRAZE class, and we've also extended it to a class called CRCC. CRAZE is Citizens Response to an Active Shooter Event. Every single member of the Manchester School District took that over the summer, and again, we've trained 2,500 over the last 3 years. We've gone beyond that, where we've given the teachers and the staff members Stop the Bleed training, which we teach them how to deal with the medical aspects of these active shooter, active attacker, active assailant events, where they can stop a bleed. It's called a BATH assessment: bleeding, airway tension, and pneumothorax and hypothermia. From there, we've gone above and beyond and gone and get a CRCC class. Teachers came back over the summer when they're supposed to be on break. They came back to West High School, and we did that. Now that's Citizens Response and Casualty Care. So they did the CRAZE class, they did a Stop the Bleed class, and we also ran scenarios where we put a bad guy in the building with them, and they got to choose their response, whether it was avoid, deny, or defend. And whatever they chose, we gave them injuries to deal with, and then they had to fix the injured person throughout the day. It's a really good class. Now the Manchester police officers and Manchester Fire, we have worked together now for many years. Your Manchester police officers get a class called SWORD, Solo Officer Rapid Deployment. They also get level 1, which is level 1 active shooter. We've given level 2 active shooter, which is medical. They've also gotten a RACE, which is exterior response to an active shooter. And we work with Manchester Fire on a yearly basis on a class called AIR, Active Attack Integrated Response, which is to bring in fire into the scene so they can do medical while we protect them and the students until we can get them, everybody out into a hospital. So the City of Manchester, and to an extension the state of New Hampshire, is well trained on how to deal with these situations if, God forbid, ever one were to occur.
I'm now going to ask Michelle and Stacy to talk about how we are promoting a positive school climate and culture.
So part of school safety includes building a positive school climate and environment for every student. And we are working on that in all 20 schools across the district. Did you want to mention about the coaching?
We provide coaches to every school in the district to help them build their systems and practices to ensure that we are working on culture and climate, and we use data-driven opportunities to make sure that we are doing the right thing for the right schools.
I'd now like to turn it over to Mr. Alexakos so he can talk about implementing a public behavioral health model.
Hi, thanks again for having me. I just wanted to say that I've been involved in the district's multi-agency emergency preparedness work since the beginning, at least when these plans became one comprehensive plan, and I've been proud to be a member of that group. I did want to mention that, you know, we, in addition to the strong partnerships that we have here in the room, we also have very strong partnerships with our community partners, as well as the hospitals, the healthcare delivery system, and others. And so they're also part of these discussions and planning and training. And those partnerships allow us to plan for the most critical events, but also how to respond to, you know, daily events. So that scalability in those partnerships, you know, everybody is at the ready to assist one another, and that's something that I think the City of Manchester should be very proud of. With regard to health and well-being and behavioral health, every 3 years the Manchester Health Department convenes community partners, including the healthcare system, mental and behavioral health, schools, community and youth-serving organizations, and members of the public to set priorities for action to improve health outcomes. And these priorities are selected because they have a direct influence on health and well-being, and they're community-driven. They're not just driven by one agency. I wanted to highlight a couple of the really key partnerships that the district has employed with our federally qualified health center, Amoskeag Health, as well as the Mental Health Center of Greater Manchester, which allows for integrated care and support for families and staff in the area of mental and behavioral health. And in public health, we're in the prevention business, and anything we can do to support students, staff, and families as they navigate different challenges is certainly creates a positive culture that can only improve safety and health. Other partnerships between the district, the Office of Youth Services, Making It Happen, allow for peer support programs and other evidence-informed practices to be implemented district-wide. And the Department of Health is looking forward to releasing a series of data dashboards in the near future to provide updates on our progress. The slide behind me is from our community health improvement plan, and we are, like the district, want to be an accountable, data-driven organization so that people can track our community's health and wellness progress. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm now going to ask Stacy and Michelle to talk about Empower.
Empower is a mental health safe schools campaign through Project Aware. And the purpose of the campaign is to build student resilience, is to encourage them to reach out to services, connect to services if they need them for mental health or behavioral health support. We have a form for students to use if they want to request support from their school counselor for someone to reach out to them. And we're implementing this campaign in middle and high schools across the district, and the students were part of the development of this campaign. The signs in the middle and high schools, we're getting their input, we're getting their feedback, and we're giving them information on where they can go if they need support and encouraging them to reach out.
Now we're going to talk about our our PBIS system. Stacy?
We have behavioral health intervention teams in all of the schools, and in the high schools and in some of the middle schools we have co-located clinicians like the health department talked about. And the purpose of this is to streamline support for students to one team, and it's a multidisciplinary team to again support them and provide access in the school setting to connect them to supports and services.
And why don't you continue with violence prevention, please?
One more piece here is the behavior expectations in the schools to build the safe and supportive schools. We have that across the district in each school, behavior expectations on being safe, respectful, responsible, and that's a foundational part of the work that we're doing.
So in addition to the district working on emergency preparedness and response, we are also really focusing on violence prevention through various practices within the district. The second part of Empower, Speak Up, is a way for our students and families to report any safety concerns, which can be done anonymously or it can be done through the website or different various avenues around the campuses. And then we actually handle the rest.
And to finish us up tonight, I'm going to ask Mr. Cooper to talk about our school safety reporting form and our safety assessment teams.
So one of the biggest things through supportive leadership at the school and then our community partners is we started last year this school safety reporting form. And I think it's pretty important if we're talking about school safety, stopping and preventing school violence, and other things that might affect the learning environment for your students. And again, with Stacy's team, she's been kind of the forefront of this with the support of leadership. But if there's something that, again, talk to your students, or your children about this, or your student, that is bothering them in regards to they witnessed something or it's happening to them, like bullying, or they heard someone that wants to commit suicide, or they wanted to come into the school and harm someone at the school or to the school property itself. These forms are anonymous, so they go online, they fill it out. If they don't want to fill in their name and contact information, they don't have to. But the importance of this is basically it's another layer of protection within our schools to protect the teachers, staff, and especially your children and your students. So it goes online, it comes to me, it comes to some school leadership. We basically assess it, kind of a threat assessment, right, incident assessment. And then from there, it gets pushed out to the principal and the school resource officer, and then Manchester PD leadership. And from there, they decide what actions need to be taken, and it's followed up. So that's pretty important, and we continue trying to push that message out, that it's online, it's anonymous if you don't want to fill in your information, but it's strictly if you're asking, for school safety and what are you doing to keep my child and my students and staff safe, well, this is it. And this is another level of safety that, if we can't do it alone, we need your help. So for those of you here tonight, get the message out of what we've spoken about tonight, because we can't do it by ourselves. It's a community effort, and we're all part of that community, so we do really need your help. On top of that layer of protecting, our schools and our students is 2 teams. So we have, as Stacey kind of mentioned earlier, in her team, we have CSTEP. So that's a model that was created by Dr. Cannell down in Virginia. We've adopted that model and kind of made it work for us in our school system. And each team, there's 20 schools, so there's 20 teams, and each team, depending on the size of the school, has 4 to 8 individuals on those teams. And they're all professionals in regards to administration, which is leadership, social worker, you have mental health providers, you have our SROs, and then support from leadership that you see up here today. So what does that mean to you? That means that these teams are part of preventing that violence that we talked about already. And if we see conflict, how are we going to resolve that conflict? Because at the end of the day, yes, that student might do something wrong, but okay, let's find the resources to get that student back into school, create that continued safe environment, so they stay in school, keep them off the streets and out of jail at the end of the day, right? We want them to be productive citizens and graduate, right? So that to move on and do bigger and better things. So that's great to have that we brought in with the support of leadership into our school district. And again, we need your support also. The second thing that we have to continue that enhancement to keep our schools safe is each school, once again, has professionals within this team, emergency management teams. So what those teams do is they work with our first responders, they work with leadership on how can we make this place safe. Whether it's security working with Kevin, whether it's doing drills with law enforcement, our other first responders, fire departments, other community leaders. Once again, when that incident happens, if we provide the tools prior to that, they'll make better decisions. Because your kids and your staff are going to be looking to who? Leadership. Those are your principals, your vice principals on, hey, what do I need to do? Assistant Superintendent Espinola talked about, yeah, we have a robust emergency operational plan, but each school has their own operational plan. Why? We've got to keep it simple. So it's not 168 pages, it's like 16 pages. Because all we want to do is, what duties and responsibilities does each member, teacher, staff, and leadership within that school have to protect those kids, right? We've got to keep it simple. So again, it's just another level that we're doing here to make sure when you send your kids to school, you feel comfortable and your kids feel safe. So trust in the process, but once again, we need your help as a community. Okay? Thank you for your time.
Before we review any questions that may have been asked during this presentation, is there anything else that somebody would like to add before we close?
I just want to say thank you. We started this work when I came to the district in 2014. Kelly mentioned we had 22 plans at the time. Every school did planning very, very differently. And our first responders would roll up to a building and have to figure out what plan was to be deployed at each school. I have to say thank you. We have some core members from back in the day. Kevin was early in the work, Nate was early in the work, and Phil. but we have continued to bring in new members throughout the city in our first responder groups to make sure this work keeps growing and thriving. I want to note that we really ground in current best practices. We go through research. We're looking for what's in the best interest of our district as a whole, but we also understand that we interface as one piece, one system within the city. We have a remarkable set of first responders. We have a remarkable set of department heads that we have the pleasure of working with. And one of the goals I always hope is that the community sees this isn't a one-person plan that we put together at the district. This is a team approach. And when things go sideways, we don't handle it in isolation, we handle it with a team. So I just want to give my deepest thank you to members of the team who've been in this with me for 11 years now. So thank you all.
I would add briefly my note of thanks to our department heads and to all of the staffs, and certainly the school district as well, that put such time and effort into this collaborative relationship. But I also want to thank those who showed up tonight. We can't be a strong city if we're not hearing from you all, so deeply appreciate your commitment to the kids that are in our schools every day. So thank you for coming as well.
All right. Okay. Thank you. We did receive a question tonight.
First question here is, are classroom doors locked during the day and when empty? And many years ago, we decided to make it a standard operating procedure that all doors are constantly pre-staged as locked. They can teach with the doors open, giving natural light, natural surveillance into the rooms while the teachers are in there with students. If anything were to happen, all they would have to do is go over and close the door. They wouldn't have to manipulate a key under stress. So all doors should be locked at all times. And when the teacher leaves and the room is empty, they are to close that door and make sure that door is latched and locked properly in case of adjoining doors. You don't want to get into one room and then just be able to go down the whole hallway.
And part of the connecting doors, some of the drills that we do run when it is a lockdown is we will have staff try and go through the center doors. Part of that deny, defend, they should be blocked. So as part of our drills and feedback, that's how we try and get into different classrooms, is by going in through the back. And that's part of that feedback loop. If we can get into one classroom, I can now get into the next.
The reunification sites are not listed for parents. There's obviously a reason for that. We don't want someone to know where the reunification sites are until we post them and you're ready for you to receive your children. And then the other one is about connecting doors. Also asked about night locks or something similar. We are a night lock city. If someone puts, it's against fire code, gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's against fire code unless you receive a variance. The variance comes from the Manchester Police Department. We would normally sign off on that and then give it over to the fire department, which has the ultimate say because it's against fire code. They go out and do an assessment of the building and say, yes, this building is appropriate to have night locks or not, depending on the fire suppression system. I don't know how much you want me to talk about the Manchester School District about night locks. There is one school that currently has night locks in them. The night locks are being applied as funding is appropriate for it and as the school gets updated. So we have tested them. We've gone out. We've tested them extensively. There are reasons why we choose night locks over other locks. It's a matter of time before they're here.
All right, I have a few questions. Number one, is it the expectation that school receptionists are the main staff in charge when an active shooter occurs? Example, main staff monitoring cameras. That answer is no. We would be moving staff to secure locations, and we have the capacity to look at cameras in locations other than the main lobby. So there's infrastructure behind the scenes. We wouldn't be just leaving a staff person in a vulnerable location. Second is a similar question that Nate just mentioned. Can parents find out where various pickups are? He's answered that one. The question on this one, is an ID needed? That answer is yes. If you're going to come to a reunification site ever, yes, we'll be looking for IDs to match students with the adults that are authorized to pick up the student. And then the last question I have is, how are parents notified of an emergency? Do students know where students would be evacuated to? We use the applications, the platforms that Kelly mentioned, Thrillshare or Aptigee, to get messaging out. We get messaging out as soon as we humanly can. Keep in mind our first responsibility or task is to secure safety for our students and staff. and then we will start the messaging going out. Kelly mentioned, if you're not seeing messages come from the district, please reach out to your school administration to make sure you have your right contact information in our systems. I think those are all that I have so far.
I got one here. Why not have an SRO at each elementary school? It would help with response time. Yeah, it certainly would. Part of the problem with that is, with that many SROs, that's literally a quarter of my patrol division. We would not be able to operate as a police department and respond to calls for service if we had to do that. Right now, we're operating, and have been for probably 6 or 7 years, with between 15 and 20 vacancies on the police department. It's not because we don't want to hire anybody, it's because we're not getting qualified people that are interested in being police officers anymore. So I don't know, I would possibly be willing to revisit that if we were able to get to full staffing. But the other side of that would be the school department able to fund that because they do pay for the SROs.
Can I add one thing to that?
Absolutely.
The SROs at our high schools and our middle schools also connect to our elementary schools. They're in zones or areas. So if an elementary school has a question or a concern, they're reaching up to their middle school or high school SRO. And there's already relationships built vertically so that there's that community connected to the SROs in our standing schools.
Then the other question on this was, would you consider having NPD stationed at all exits at schools during operating hours? Again, I feel like I kind of answered that. We don't have the staffing to do that. There's no way we could do that. I mean, we could possibly do that, but we wouldn't have any detectives or any officers to do anything else in the entire city.
I have two.
Oh, Jeff?
Do you want to go, Nate?
So I have one here that says, to what extent are children, students involved in lockdown drills, etc.? Every child goes through a minimum, I think, of 2 active shooter lockdown drills a year. We are starting to give the craze training to students. It's obviously significantly watered down. We just finished West High School last week. Every student at West High School has now had the craze training. Another question I have here, is there any data that schools that have active shooter and ejects has helped minimize the damage or improved the response time? I know this is a little convenient, but what we had today and having an officer there a minute and a half after that ejects went off is a huge improvement in response time. Normally, if you call 911, it goes to Concord or a response center. They answer the phone and then call the Manchester Police Department. The Manchester Police Department then answers the phone, gets it into dispatch, and dispatch sends out the officers. Here, it just went directly to every police officer in the city, and they were able to respond over there, skipping that whole minute and a half loop, getting us there significantly faster. I do talk to the folks from EJICS every once in a while, and they did have another situation in another part of the country. It was actually a swatting scenario. And they had calls coming in saying that it was an active shooter event at a school. And before the police officers even got there, they were able to pull up the map and see that every single teacher had marked that they were safe. So instead of running in there with 72 cops with rifles out and scaring the kids, they were able to vet that call for service before they even got there and reduce the anxiety level of everyone in that building. So there are, I don't have the data, but there are instances out there where agencies could use quite successfully.
Hey, can you just define swatting?
Since you don't know, swatting is a fake call for service saying that something really bad is happening, and they're trying to get a major response to one, say, school in this instance, and get people running in there with guns when really nothing bad is happening.
So I have a couple of questions. Since there's so many languages spoken in the schools, are we prepared to translate communication in an emergency? We are. We have a number of multilingual family liaisons who we work directly with. If there's ever a question, making sure we have a home language noted within our Aspen system, our liaisons would be those key point people. The tools that we use behind the scenes translate our messages into the home language that is designated. And then the other question is, what if a family doesn't have access to ThrillShare or the applications for updates? So our updates go out in a couple different formats. They go out as texts, and they also go out as emails to the information that's provided from the home. So we do have the language capacity. We also have an amazing group of multilingual family liaisons there to help as well. I think that's your questions.
Thank you very much for coming tonight. We will be continuing to do these throughout the year, so I look forward to visiting this again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say, as a school board member, I really appreciate the cooperation of everyone because it truly has made a difference. And when I visit, if you visit schools, you see that Empower, there is these classrooms having that information. It's so exciting to see, and it's due to the efforts of everyone, and we couldn't do it alone. And I really appreciate everyone's effort. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sweet.